For the record, Jerry Allen is interviewing Cheryl Swannack in Sherry Gawke's studio in Los Angeles, California, USA, and it is February 20th, 2010.
Contrary to what people believe, like I came from the anti-racism movement or the civil rights movement, from the anti-war movement or the peace movement. The feminist movement was not the anti-male movement. Men were just really kind of not considered. It was an environment about yourself. Other women were included in that self as a iconic togetherness, but it wasn't being anti-male was not part of it. And I think there was a freedom in the absence of men for a lot of heterosexual women, because heterosexual women often behave differently in front of men. So for the first time, they were kind of freed up from that. And that would be, unique to their experience. But it wasn't something that was really focused on, the absence of men. And our goal was to put feminism in the world, not to shelter feminism from the world. When we got to the Feminist Studio Workshop was in Sheila de Bretteville's living room. There was no building, there was no school, and I think there was about maybe 28 women, and they weren't all politicized. They weren't all feminists. Some of them were mainstream art school graduates, and immediately they began to complain about, what are we paying this money for to sit in this somebody's living room? Where's the art school? Where's the studio? And I remember looking around the room, and I had on my huaraches from Mexico that cost $2. And these women had on like Chanel and comparable to it, the Jimmy Choos of the time. And I said to them, you could pay your tuition with the shoes that are in this room. What are you bitching about? To me, it was a no-brainer to start something without walls. That was interesting to me. But then started the process of feminist art education, which was to accept responsibility for our own education. The main shows of the first year were Sheila's Eileen Gray show, which was, here was a group of almost 30 women artists who had never heard of Eileen Gray. A preeminent designer, a brilliant woman, and all of us had been to college, and none of us had heard of her. And so that was kind of a testament to where our women's arts education had been. The first year was a lot about building the building. A lot of women spent a lot of time complaining that they didn't have enough time for their art. And, Judy's response was that, well, I go to my studio at night when the day's over. We were hammer and nails building it. We were making a space for women artists. We were cultivating an environment for women to critique their own work without the precepts of male-dominated historical concepts. So the vision was left for your own work, because we didn't have to be envisioning a space. And that was a huge relief. To actually be doing something rather than dreaming of it is a great relief, because you're actually doing it. You're getting up every day and you're moving closer to it. We needed a place to protect our tools and to keep our plans so that everybody had access to them and a work list. So there was this closet, and I had my tools, which I had inherited from my grandfather, and they were all sprayed pink. And my grandfather, when I asked him why he sprayed them pink, he said because no decent man would steal a pink tool. So he could go and work and no one would steal his tools. And when I went, Stanley Grinstein was donating a bunch of stuff, of which tools were one, and some of his tools were dipped in lavender paint, and he didn't know why. And so we collected all the tools together, put them up on the wall, and then sprayed the wall pink, and then took the tools down so that there was a blank space for every tool. And the rule was you didn't lock up the tool room until you found all the tools at night, so that the tools weren't discarded around the building. But it also became, the tool closet became an intimate space. Like Arlene would do her one-on-one critiques in this closet, which was the tool room. And it was a room about 4 foot wide by 11 feet long. And that, you would go there to have private conversations, and when you just couldn't stand it anymore, and things were just chaotic, you would go and hide in the tool room, and you could lock it from the inside. A lot of people see, or have over the years, the decades now, talked about the failure of the women's building. But it's just like gay bookstores. Gay bookstores didn't fail. The culture grew so that gay books are in every store. Women are in every gallery. We were successful. I mean, we impacted the world. We outsourced ourselves, and it wasn't a failure, it was a success. But the failure is now that this generation of women don't get to experience the community, because the community that spread feminism to the mainstream world and made Title IX happen, and women in every gallery, and that's the entitlement of every woman. But she doesn't get it through community. That experience was so powerful, to be in a kind of sheltered, yet provocative, yet envelope breaking, yet sheltered. It was a dichotomy. We were all supportive of each other, and we all held up against the world, but we were trying to get ourselves out into the world. And that sense of how community can provide that for you is the lingering experience that I got from the Women's Building.